Good morning, ladies, and welcome to the first marketing meetup of 2026. I'm so excited to be here today with Kristen and I, and we're just going to be talking about really 2026 being the line in the sand where the market is shifting. We're seeing a new class of real estate leaders rise. We're seeing agents who have been waiting for the business to get easier, exiting the business, and we're seeing agents that have had their head down and doing the work have their businesses explode. And so today during the marketing meetup, we're really just going to be talking about what that looks like in 2026 and how you can position yourself to win. So, hi, friend.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing good. I was telling Randy before we got on, I have been up since 4:30 this morning rebuilding websites and doing CE classes. So my brain
Simultaneously.
brain hurts a little bit.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm excited to jump into this because I feel like the market that we're going into 2026 could not be more aligned with who we are as moms in real estate.
Yeah.
And so, for years, the old market, it really did have like who had the best leads, who had the big, the biggest ad. It was speed to lead, which, make no mistake, speed to lead is still always going to be crucial, right? But in the new market, it's really more about who you know. What we're seeing is that buyers are scared, sellers are stressed, and people want to feel secure and they want to work with people that they trust. And so really it's going to be, it's going to be such a, we were talking about this before we got on, Kristen, like developing our brand and who we are and how we make people feel and what we're known for. I think it's been here for years, but I think 2026 is the year that is the line in the sand. Like if you don't lean into that, if you don't lean into actually building relationships in your brand, it's going to leave you behind.
Yeah, I totally agree. I actually teach a class to real estate agents, just called, it's like Why Social Media Matters Today. And one of the big parts is like with your brand and how you're showing up on your website and your social media pages, you're instantly being judged by somebody before you
Right.
ever get the opportunity to meet them. And so I always ask people, like, if somebody met you and it's like, hey, I'm Kristen, and it's so nice to meet you, and they decide to look me up online, what do they see?
Right.
And is that like a good reflection of my brand messaging, my brand colors? Like, or do they feel like they're a part of something, So it's like all these questions you can go through. And I think it's such an important part as you're out and building your reputation. Sorry, I can't talk.
Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things where it's like, you see something and you instantly feel it and relate to it and you're like, "Oh, I want to be part of that," right? And so it's
Yes.
the same thing. It's the same thing when we're creating experiences for our buyers and sellers. One of the things I've said for years now is, you can have a tough transaction. You can have a downright like awful transaction and still have a good experience. The
Mm-hmm.
experience is how we make people feel, right? And so, I think the Zillow, the realtor.com, all of that, I think there's still going to be a space for it. But I think even there, it's going to be so much different in the agents that have trust. And what you said a minute ago made me think about it, because you said like, oh, I'm building my relationship, I'm building the brand. And that is so important. It is so important. But I think it's also important to know that like trust isn't our logo. It isn't our website. And it is not, how many years we've been in the business. I think a lot of agents lead with that too, right? Like I know agents that have been in the business 20 years, and that doesn't necessarily mean I'd want to work with them. But it is, like you said, how did they see me? How did they help me? How do they care? And I think one of the ways that we can really start doing that and putting those stories out there is front loading education. And I think
Mm-hmm.
we've got to stop thinking of education as just like an explanation of something, but also like the success stories and like the pivots and the struggles. Like all of us agents I know in this last year, Kristen, worked probably harder than we worked in years to keep deals together. We had more
Mm-hmm.
complexities, we had more emotions, we had longer days on the market, we had so many different things that we were facing. And did we tell that story? Did we tell people like how we navigated somebody through that? Because that's what makes us the obvious choice, right?
Yeah, 100%. And storytelling can be hard sometimes, I feel like, on social
Mhm.
media. But it is absolutely so impactful. So maybe you can give a scenario from a situation that you had in a real estate transaction where you're like, do I share this or do I not? And you decided to, because I feel like examples are going to help everyone in the group to really be like, okay, I could share that.
Yeah, I mean, goodness, I had a lot, but I think especially around sellers, right? Like, I have one seller in particular that is on, we're going into our fourth escrow. And so I know that when I have represented buyers over the years, one of the conversations I have with them is like when it's normal, to find the house. Like, hey, it's really normal to find the house you want to make an offer on in the first 5 homes. And I go over the fact that we've eliminated so many online, like, don't be scared that you haven't seen enough, right? And when you kind of start to set that expectation, all of a sudden they don't panic, like, wait, should I really be making an offer on the first 3 homes I see or something like that? Well, it's the same things with sellers. So this year when I started talking about like, the reality is you could see 2 escrows, you could even see 3 escrows, right? It just changed their expectation. And all of a sudden, it took a certain weight off of sellers, that it wasn't like just their house, it wasn't just their problem, it wasn't like their thing. And then they came in with it into the market lighter, and they came on the market lighter and like willing to understand it could be a roller coaster, right? So just putting that out there, because there's a lot of like fear around like, well, what if my house doesn't sell, or I saw that this happened, or I heard that that happened. And so I think that, stories as simple as that, but also like when we're in the nitty and the gritty, right? Like, for me in particular, I have probates going right now, I have bankruptcy sales going right now, I have VA compromise cells going right now. So I think it's important to tell those stories so that the people
Mhm.
that have different situations happening, which that's what I'm seeing is, I'm not seeing the market, every single seller doing one thing, but I see like every seller has a different level of complexity. They have a different hurdle. And when you're talking about, I'm handling this hurdle, I'm handling this hurdle, you become the person that fixed the hurdles. And now when they know, oh my goodness, I might have ABC issue, like this is the person I want to talk to, that becomes really powerful. And it's micro stories, right? That's the other thing is I think sometimes we're so focused on the transaction, which rightfully so, but then it's like we're trying to tell the whole story's transaction. And if you're anything like me, you feel like you have to explain like the whole, I got to tell you everything that happened before,
You
after,
definitely do.
during, right? And that's just my
Uh-huh.
personality. So what I'm having to learn to do is like, just take out the micro win. The micro win. How did we handle this one thing? And you don't have to explain all the other factors. If people ask that, that's great. Have that conversation, but start telling the story in micro stories.
Yeah, and I think a good hack for this is, once a month, twice a month, block out some time on your calendar and just sit and think. It doesn't have to be a transaction you're going through right now. Like you can literally go
Right.
back your whole entire history of selling homes and think like, what's a pretty cool story that I should be telling? And then how do I dice this up like she's saying, these micro stories? Because I think we all struggle with this. I definitely do. Randy just said she did, where it's
Yep.
like, I don't have enough time in a reel to be able to share this whole thing, right? Well, nobody wants to listen to that for that long anyways. So just like give them like some value and make it small and pull out from these different scenarios. Throw out, like I do it in my notes app where I just go in and I start to type out a bunch of copy for content that I want to go create that month. So I feel like that's like at least a little hack for you to be able to go do and make it not so, oh my gosh, there's so much to do.
Yeah. Well, and there's 3 things that really we know is going to win for agents in 2026. And one of them is visibility. And so exactly what you're talking about, like you don't need to go viral. Don't be the agent that has the goal of like going viral. In fact, going viral can come with its own set of issues and hurdles. Your goal is to be seen consistently, right? And so people need to feel like they see you everywhere. They need to feel like they know you, and they need to feel like they trust you, right? And so that way they know you before they need you. And that's really
Mhm.
what your goal is. So that's why it's so important, like you said, to sit down with intentionality and just splice up, like, how am I going to show up? Maybe do Win Wednesday and like, hey, Wednesday, I'm talking about the wins that I've had for my clients, right? And maybe you do something else like, I don't know, Struggle Saturday. I'm making things up. But the point is, like, you're showing up consistently. And that's the thing is, like, we get too hyper focused on like that one thing that we say, and not the fact that we're, you can tell the best story ever once and it's going to land flat, right? You have got to learn to consistently be showing up and saying, hey, I'm in here, this is what I'm doing. And side note, if you're an agent watching this and maybe you're new and you're coming into the market in 2026 and you're like, well, I don't have these stories, then niche down, right? And you should be doing that simultaneously even as a producing agent. But the niche down, speak every single time with your visibility, speak to that audience that you want to serve, speak to the niche that you want to serve, become known for that one thing. Make sure you're not getting, there's nobody nobody doesn't know realtors. In case you know this, there's no person in your sphere that doesn't know multiple agents, right? They all know multiple agents. So make sure that you're known for like one thing specifically, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's scary to niche down, but it works really, really well. And so definitely don't be afraid to do it.
Yeah. Well, and I think it goes hand in hand with the second thing, which you need to do is which be value driven, right? So, agents don't need us to get access, or clients don't need us anymore to get access to homes on the market. They don't really need us for a lot of things that they used to need us for in the old school way, right? So now they need us for more of that high level explanation, that teaching, that guiding, the understanding of the market, the setting the expectations, and really calming the fears, right? Because there's just so many fears. I don't want to overpay, or I'm going to wait till rates come down, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And if you spend 5 minutes, if you spend 5 minutes explaining to somebody and really analyzing it for them, a lot of times they realize, wait, it's not better, right? It's not better for me to wait, or they see a whole nother angle. And I will tell you, there is no person that I'd rather do business with than the person that empowers me with information. Like that person
Well,
is my
and
person.
there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to like communicate in the most amazing way in your experiences, because if you think about it, we have so many things at our fingertips to be able to give this information. So let's say
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to somebody, right? And so maybe I'm somebody who consumes by like, I like to sit and read on my own. You got to think to yourself, like, when I have somebody that I'm working with, do I have like multiple ways of communicating with them so that I can meet them where they're at? And this is where systems come into play. So if you guys are like, what does that even look like? You guys should have email marketing set up that's already done, so that the minute that you get a buyer, you put them into something to where they're being communicated and educated throughout the entire process, and you've already built it and set it and forget it. If you don't have that done, you need to reach out to Tina, who's always in this group, because she is like a systems queen with all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But you need to be thinking about that, because yes, those conversations where you're sitting there and explaining a scenario to somebody are really great. But what about if you're like in the middle of something for 2 hours and they just want to get that information? Where are
Yeah.
they going? So even like, Randy has a Facebook group called The Mob for all of her clients, right? And so she could be educating in there. She could have files in there, whatever it looks like for you. I just built out a backend client communication platform for two of my businesses. And I was like, this is so cool, because it's literally just you're creating an ecosystem for them to have a great experience, even though you're
Yeah.
still there to be able to do stuff with them. So really expand your mind beyond the like, okay, this is us having a conversation, and make the experience so much bigger than that.
Well, and that's our third point, which is relationships, right? And so, exactly what you're talking about, like real humans that know your name, right? And there's so many ways. There's so many ways that you can put that information out there. But as moms in real estate too, like you are in the right places. You're in your kids' schools, you're in your church, you're in your gym, you're in your past clients, you're in your mom's friends. Like these are your future closings. And it's, with my team, the number one thing I coach my agents on, and I've been coaching my agents on, but their number one goal is to build out their faithful 50, right? Like those 50 people that they really want to do life with, that they want to check in on, that they want to encourage, that they want to serve, that they want to be visible and helpful. And I will say, hands down, Kristen, you're probably one of the best people that I know that does this. And it shows in every one of your businesses, because you have led with like relationship, and you've led with value, and you've wanted to offer connection, support, encouragement, whatever you could to people with zero expectation of anything in return. Like you just were like, I really like this person. I'd rather my day have more of people like this in it than go over here and like lose my mind trying to build this cold-based business. And I mean, in the last 2 or 3 years, I've watched your businesses explode. In fact, when I came down to Arizona to meet you, you hadn't even taken Hello Culture to chapters. I was like, let me be your guinea pig. Because remember, in the beginning of this, you were talking about like how you make somebody feel. And just from what I saw online, I was like, you've got to take this national, like, please, please, please make me your guinea pig, right? So you had demand, and this is exactly what we want as agents. Like you had demand before you had launch. Like we want somebody that wants to work with us before we're even saying, hey, can I be your agent, right?
Yeah.
And so talk about how you do that.
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's so easy to have a scarcity mindset. So it's
Yeah.
something that you have to know is going to creep in, but you have to be able to fight it. And you guys, I literally had such a scarcity mindset in the beginning. So it's just realizing and like telling myself over and over and over again, like, it's okay if this doesn't work out and I don't need to make it about me. So just really going and being servant hearted and being like, what can I do to help this person? You
Yeah.
want to be interested, not interesting. So just listen, listen, listen. And if it's not you that's the best answer, provide them with the best answer. Because when you can show up and just serve people and do what's best for them, it's karma, you guys. Like you are literally going to have business come in other ways. But if you just like don't have to, I feel like people get so wrapped up in like, oh my gosh, this is like my one buyer right now or my one client right now. Well, just go out and meet and serve a bunch of people and you will be totally fine. So I think that's the biggest thing. I did spend years working with anyone that breathed, and I learned really quick I didn't want to do that. And so it's just figuring out too, like when we talk about niching down, you've got to speak to who you want to be
Right.
around, who you want your clients to be. And the more and more and more I did that, the more and more I literally, you guys, I could say with so much conviction that I literally work with people that I actually would go and like be like, let's go grab a glass of wine together.
Yeah.
Let's go grab coffee together. I enjoy everyone. There's not one person that comes to mind that drains me, where there was a time where I would be like, oh my gosh, so and so is calling me. Why are they calling me?
Yeah.
You know, like,
100%.
so
Well, and
it's just
that's
really getting clear on those things.
Well, and that's the exact same thing. And so Kristen obviously has a lot of businesses that, are partners with agents, right? But yes, last year was one of the toughest markets. It was a tough market. Make no mistake that the agents that had done the preparation and the work and had their heads down were seeing growth. But nonetheless, in a tough market, Kristen, you exploded your growth with your agent partners. And side note, like I was just looking this morning, you're about to hit like 350 partners, which
Nice.
is so
I'm
exciting.
so glad you looked.
Yes, I looked this morning and I was like, Kristen has been on fire. She told me her goal a couple months ago. Or I think it was like maybe 2 months ago. You told me your goal. I think it was 1,500, and she was like, I'm going for it. And I'm like, dang, she's going for it, and I love it. And here's what I want to say is like twofolds. Yes, a lot of that. I mean, so you're always the relationships you build today is your pipeline in a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah,
Yes, but there's also like I'm alongside Kristen and watching her build. And there's also people that she met last week, right? The thing that she's leading with is that authenticity and the true genuine desire. We had a partner come on, and guys, all of this is applicable. When I talk about Kristen's success with agents, this is all applicable to buyers and sellers, right?
absolutely.
So we had a partner come on with us about maybe about 3 weeks ago, a month ago. And it's so funny because I'm just going to call myself out here. Like I scramble. I'm like over here trying to figure out what I'm doing. I'm like, I got stuff going on every which way. And so I'm trying to like get it together. And I had a great call. I think I was actually the first one to meet with this partner, and I met with her, and then I looped Kristen in. And then Chris and I were like, how do we best set her up? And so then Kayla was like a good match. So between all of us, we're getting this girl set up for 2026, right? The next thing I know, I get a text message from Kristen, and there's like a picture, and they're like together in Arizona. And yes, it just so happened to like work out. But let me tell you that like that agent could have very well went to Arizona and never called Kristen and just like kept that normal business flow of like, okay, I'm in business with her, but I didn't call her and go have that coffee Kristen's talking about or go have that glass of wine. But the way that Kristen made her feel and the way that Kristen engaged with her made sure that when she did come in town, she's like, oh, I'm in town. And then that resulted in like a connection. That's the same thing with our buyers and sellers. If you're not actually taking the time, if we're all over the place and we're just having the call and we're just walking them through the consult and we're just going through the motions and the checklist that we have, and we're not actually stopping to build rapport and get to know them as people and actually be interested in like why they want that house and like what are their goals and what are their long-term goals and what do they see. And like, if we're not learning these things, then we don't build the relationship, and that's how you become transactional, and that's how you don't continue to build momentum. And we have to build momentum in this business, otherwise January 1st we all reset and you're back to nothing. And so your relationships in this business, your relationships are your residual. And that's how today I'm so thankful that even though I haven't always done the best, I am a relationship builder. And that's how today going in, I have a predictable business and I know at least 10 to $15 million in volume every year is going to come out of my relationships. And that's what you want to do as a mom in real estate, right? You want to like just lean in. So I'm so, Kristen, I am like pumped. This is the year for moms in real estate.
It is. Well, and if you guys really listen to what we're saying too, like if you spend time on relationships with people, you're going to find out there's so many more transactions than the one that you're so focused on. So if
Yeah.
you're not listening, it will be one transaction. Okay. If you're listening and you're making someone a client for life, you're going to set them up and you're going to be literally helping them and a lot of people that they know with multiple transactions. So, hi, Paige.
Morning, Paige. Miss your face.
I know.
Yeah, no. And so this year is not, it's not about grinding harder. It's about planting earlier. It's about getting intentional quicker, right? It's about being the one who understands that the relationships now are going to be the harvest later. And to Kristen's point, you're going to understand that not all the harvest is meant to be yours, right? Like, and that is so freeing and it's so powerful when you can just go like, I mean, wow, like maybe that's meant to be somebody else's and get excited. And it is, I will say, and we can wrap on this note, you know, it was interesting to hear Kristen say, like, I had that scarcity mindset, because if you know Kristen today, you wouldn't ever imagine it, but we all do. And we're in a very cannibalistic industry. And most of our environments don't feed the abundant mind side of our mind. Most of our environments in the real estate industry are very much cannibalistic and like get it all and don't let anybody else get to it and speed to lead and like don't be talking. And so if you're in that environment, first and foremost, check it, check your environment. You don't need anybody else. Our flesh does a great job making sure that we're prideful and that we're like scarcity. Like you don't need anybody else to feed that side of your flesh. So get around the right people that are going to encourage you to be abundant minded and to just show up and serve. I mean, that's going to be huge, and be intentional about it. Find the people that you want to serve well and that are going to appreciate you exactly like you are. You don't need to get ready, just be you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Well, I'm so excited that our monthly marketing meetups are back. So this is, what is this, Kristen? Is this the second? This is the second Tuesday, right?
Second Tuesday, yeah.
So every second Tuesday, mark your calendars. As Kristen kind of hinted to, we have a brand new website coming. It's not there yet, but you can go still see our first version at heyamire.com.
Don't, because
it's not. So
we don't have anything.
I have to chuckle because when we first went into business, I was like, we need a website. We didn't even have a website. And so I like threw together a website, and then Kristen just left it for a minute. And then once it caught Kristen's attention, she was like, okay, we're redoing the whole website.
I love this stuff, you guys. I get a little obsessive. And so that's the problem, is I've literally rebuilt 2 backend systems, 3 websites, and so much more since December. So I'm over it now, but I got so obsessed because I love branding, marketing, and relationships. Like that is definitely like where I get excited. So you'll see it. It's coming soon. It's going to be so much fun.
Yes. And mark your calendars for our marketing meetup and of course our morning show, because in 2026, just like we're telling you to lean in on your relationships, that's our goal with each and every one of you, is to lean in. We are so bummed that we don't have a personal relationship with all 40,000, and we're fully aware that we can't, but it is our mission to bubble those of you that want to be in the, you know, kind of the inner circle and doing all the things with moms in real estate. We want to bubble you to the top and just love on you well and serve you well here at Moms in Real Estate. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will see you on Monday. Bye, guys.